Shanti. Mateshwariji's Sweet Elevated Versions. 24th of June 2022. Original date 15th of December 1963. Title: Action is the reason for happiness and sorrow. Every human being knows that happiness and sorrow in life are the result of our actions. We must definitely have performed such actions previously, for which we have to experience their consequence in the form of happiness or sorrow. So, happiness and sorrow are connected with our actions. Karma cannot be called destiny, (kismet). Some think that it is in their destiny, and so they consider happiness and sorrow to be their destiny. This is like saying that God created your destiny, or that someone else created it. This is why they say it is in their destiny. However, it is necessary to understand who creates our destiny. God did not create our destiny. It isn't that our destiny has been created in advance. No. The happiness and sorrow that people experience are created by human beings themselves, because it is human beings who perform actions. This is why it is our own responsibility. As you sow, so shall you reap, is a common saying, and whoever does anything receives the fruit of it. It is also mentioned in the Gita, a human being is his own friend and his own enemy. It isn't said, I am your enemy, I am your friend. No, a human being is his own friend and his own enemy, and this is why a person is a friend to himself and an enemy to himself. He brings happiness and sorrow to himself. So, it is clear that a person is himself responsible for his happiness and sorrow. This is why, whenever you have sorrow in any form, you try to remove it. When there is fighting or battling going on somewhere, you try to stop it. And sometimes, for some, there is untimely death in this, and so they have sorrow. Then they think, I don't know why this happened to me. With that force, they then begin to blame God for it. But who did everything that happened to them? The untimely death that took place, or the sorrow they experienced in the form of some illness, did God bring that? All the fighting and battling, all the causes of sorrow which exist in the world, did God create all of that? God is the one whom you call the remover of sorrow and the bestower of happiness. This is why whenever you have any sorrow, you remember him. Even when your body has an illness, you call out to God, "O God." You remember him alone at times of sorrow. So, tell me, if he has caused you sorrow, what should the one who causes sorrow do? This is also something to think about. Whoever you remember at a time of sorrow, you cannot say of him that he caused you sorrow. This is also something to understand. Since we remember him, we definitely have a different relationship with him, not that of a bestower of sorrow. This shows that the reason for sorrow, or the person responsible, is someone else. Even in this, there is no third person. One is myself and the other is my creator, that is all. There are just the two. One is that I am his creation, or you can say his child, and the other is the Father. So, either the Father is responsible, or I am responsible. However, when I have sorrow, it seems to me as though that Creator has caused me sorrow. Internally, I feel that He is my bestower of happiness. It is as though you ask for support of happiness. O God, remove this sorrow. God, give me a long life. Look, people even ask for a long life. Long life, sorrow, illness of the body, any fighting or battling. Whatever reason for peacelessness there is, they ask God. When a child is not sensible, they say, O God, give him sumat, brackets, a good intellect. So, they ask him for guidance. When anything brings you sorrow or suffering, they remember him in that suffering, and they ask him for anything they want. Since they ask him for something, he must definitely be the bestower of that, and he must be the one who gives us happiness. It means that he alone has a cure for everything. We don't remember him just like that, but he has a cure. So, whatever habits we have, whether knowingly or unknowingly, we definitely remember God at times of sorrow. Whenever anything happens, we immediately say, "Oh my God." Whether someone knows or not who God is, what he is, this definitely emerges from their mouth. This also has to be understood. Ultimately, does the one whom we remember have a connection with all our sorrows? Is he a bestower of sorrow, or does he have a connection with giving us happiness? Even our remembrance shows that his work is not to cause anyone sorrow. If he were to cause that for us, why would we remember him? Generally, you would feel angry with someone who causes you sorrow. You would think, "I don't know what I should do to him." However, for God, you always feel love, and especially at times of sorrow. Internally, you would feel him to be your great friend. You feel happiness inside. So, his relationship with us is definitely one of happiness. So, something else must definitely be the reason for our sorrow. There is no third party. One is myself and he is the other. So, I am definitely responsible, brackets, for my sorrow. So, whatever I am an instrument for, I am the one who suffers the sorrow. I create it for myself, by myself. Therefore, this is so senseless. The thing that I want to be free from, I create that for myself. So, this is something surprising, is it not? People don't want sorrow, yet they continue to create it. So, there is definitely something they don't know about, that they don't understand. So, whatever you don't know, you must first of all try to find out about it. I must definitely have some knowledge and understanding about it. I must, first of all, look for that understanding. However, the surprising thing is that even today, some helpless people make so many excuses about not understanding such things. They would say that they are not free or don't have time. What should we do? Should we look after our households and business, or do this, do that? What should we do? This is why they have become unhappy in looking after everything. Since I have created this sorrow by saying, "This is mine, this is mine," since I have taken this sorrow on myself, I must first of all try to resolve it. When I cause sorrow for myself, I should know what the reason is for whatever is causing me sorrow. I must first of all have the understanding as to why I am unhappy. Is it that happiness is not for me? I should first find this out. This information can be found in the understanding that all the things you consider to be yours are the reason for your sorrow. It is necessary in life to know what the remedy for that sorrow is. Even while knowing it, they say, "What can I do? How can I do this? Should I leave my household and everything?" So, it is surprising the way human intellects work, that even when they are given the understanding, they are unable to imbibe it. We understand these things with experience, and then, after imbibing it, we share it with you. This is something to be experienced. We have definitely experienced it, for this is why we tell you how you can attain happiness in a practical way. We have had this desire for a long time. Now, that bestower of happiness himself gives us his own introduction. O children, how did you become unhappy? It is your fault, but what is it in you that you yourself do not know, and is the reason why you take that sorrow on yourself? Is it that your actions are the reason for your sorrow? Come and understand this. Look, we are offering this to you. Even then, it is amazing. Even though they hear this, those poor helpless people say, "Perhaps this is how we have to continue." This is called attachment to Maya. Maya has completely caught hold of them, and whatever they beat their heads about all day, the Father himself tells them what the reason is for their happiness and sorrow. The Father himself says, "I have come to take away all your sorrow and to give you happiness." This is why you sing, "O remover of sorrow and bestower of happiness." It is never said, "Today you cause us sorrow and remove our happiness." No, he is the remover of all our sorrows. The Father says, "I have come especially to take away your sorrow." However, to do that, I teach you to perform such actions that your sorrow is finished. Whatever I teach and explain to you, understand it and simply make effort. Then your sorrow will finish. I give you teachings to finish your sorrow, so imbibe them because it is your property. However, some poor helpless ones make excuses as though they are doing God a favour. Some say, If I have time, I will do it. Oh dear brother, it is in the eating, drinking and serving everyone, and in the accounts of those actions you have created, that you have become unhappy. On the one hand, you say that you want to be liberated from sorrow, and on the other hand, even though the Father shows you the way to become free from all of that sorrow, it hardly sits in anyone's intellect. In this way, the 5 vices are called Maya, but people consider wealth and prosperity to be Maya. Some say that their bodies are Maya, and they try to find ways to protect themselves from that. However, the Father says, the reason for your sorrow is something else. The elements are my creation. Whatever is eternal is not the cause of sorrow. You have something extra in you that causes you sorrow. It is called the 5 vices, brackets Maya. The vices are not the body. The world is not made of vices. Wealth and prosperity are not the vices. Vices are something else, and when these vices come into existence, all of these things become the cause of sorrow. Otherwise, all of these facilities were the reason for our happiness. For souls, wealth and prosperity, etc., are the reason for our happiness. But because you don't have full knowledge about all of these things, they have caused you sorrow. It isn't that the eternal creation I create is the reason for sorrow. No. You cause your sorrow. Something else has developed in you, and that something else is Maya, the 5 vices. You now have to remove them. People say, God gave all of this. If God gives anything, it would be something of happiness. You have put the vices into all of these things and spoilt them, which is why the Father says, remove these vices and you will become happy for all time. All of these things have to be understood. You will have to give some time for this. You have to learn the way to finish your sorrow. For this, you are told to come again and again and learn something. However, it shouldn't be that you hear all of these things here, and when you go out, everything finishes. Some say that all of these things are for senior or elderly people. Is it just the old ones who have to create their lives? The old ones are those who have climbed up the wrong ladder and then, after that experience, have come down. Instead of that, why not caution yourself before climbing the ladder and understand how you have to live your life? This is why you are given the advice. Understand these things and make full effort to remove the root cause of your sorrow, the reasons for your sorrow. We have to understand the right we have over God the Father, who is the Father of everyone, and also claim that right. You mustn't just call him your Father, but you should come and listen and understand what you have to attain from him. We will continue to make this offer to everyone. Previously, too, we were giving this invitation and message to everyone. Then, a handful out of multi-millions awakened. The same happened earlier, too, and this is why God himself said, "A handful out of multi-millions know me." So, having come here, you have to understand these things and then talk about them and imbibe them. All of these things cannot be explained in just one day. Acha. To the sweetest children, love, remembrance, and namaste. Blessing. May you be liberated in life and constantly have spiritual intoxication by remaining aware of your worthy of worship form. The pleasure of Brahmin life is in the stage of liberation in life. Those who remain constantly aware of their worthy of worship form cannot have their eyes drawn to anything except the Father. All the people and all possessions themselves bow down in front of worthy of worship souls. Worthy of worship souls are never attracted to anything. They do not bow down in their minds or intellects to anyone, not even their own bodies, relations, possessions, or sanskars. They are never tied in any bondage and constantly continue to experience the stage of liberation in life. Slogan. True servers are instruments and those who have humility. Om Shanti.